Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of a Nation United Canada edition right here on FIFA 19. And welcome to what is likely, probably, our final season with the Canadians of Kaiserslautern. We did not get into the World Cup. I could have saved, backed out, and continuously tried. We didn't bother. We didn't get into the World Cup, which means really there are only two things left to do. Try to win the Bundesliga, try to win the Champions League. We are in both competitions this season, so it makes sense that this is probably going to be the final attempt. We have won the DFB Pokal. We have won the Europa League. We have accomplished a lot in this series, but now it's time to see if this team can take a step forward and win the whole shebang, or the whole shebangs, because there are multiple deals. Now, as far as this roster is concerned, obviously there was a little bit of time between where we ended the last episode and right now. In that time, Justin Cooper got a loan offer from Bournemouth, so there was the question of Cooper or Taylor that we had overhead. We're going to go with Larry Taylor because Cooper was loaned out. And again, Taylor has a higher ceiling, although Cooper's better now. We're going to see what Larry can do for us this year, see if he's the guy to take us to the next level. Ken Michaels is going to be the backup. We're going to train him up. We're going to let go of Boosty rather than having him complain about his lack of playing time. So the backup keeper situation is good to go. If we can't boost up Michaels enough, we just recall Cooper and it's fine. Right back wise, Marcus Godinho is going to be on the way out. Mathis and Clark are going to be the two that we roll with. Mandrakar James is also going to be moved out. Sullivan, Park, Taylor, and James are enough, especially when you think that we can move Gagnon to center back and get Walter Cameron a few more games. We also have a really good left back who's likely to ask out of the youth academy sometime soon. Piet is on the transfer list because we're going to be going more than likely with a stronger offensive formation this year. Lucas White is going to get a lot of time, and we're also going to try to train up Pierre Olsen to be a secondary option behind him. Right mids, I'm not sure yet. Moore is definitely staying, Clark definitely stays, and Evans will be here. I just don't know what's going to happen with Brett Morgan because I don't know what his potential is at this point. So we'll see in the future. Same thing as well as Piet. Kay, I think, will be on the way out. Very useful servants to the team. But we also have Russell Kerr to go alongside L. White at the top there. Evan White and Russell Williams, both transfer listed again. When we gave them opportunities, they didn't really do that well. Davies and Sullivan staying. Cooper, of course, who played very well when we gave him the opportunities, and that's the reason why we're going with a more attacking formation for this final season. We're going to give him every chance to succeed. Josh Evans, the other one's there. Russell Bliska, who did go out on loan. I recalled him, though, because I want him to play. Victor Olsen on the way out. Anthony Wilson on the way out. So we're going to be trusting a lot of the younger guys here to take over, because that strategy last year, I don't think it was a bad one, but the strategy last year of trying to trust the guys like Williams, like Olsen, Godinho, to step up and play those important games that we needed them to play, they didn't do that well. So we might as well turn it over to the younger guys who in some instances might have, I guess we'll say, lopsided stats, for lack of a better term, in that, of course, we can end up with a young Cam who's in the mid-70s, but his finishing can be ridiculous, and he might be more effective than some other option who's a little bit more established in terms of total overall. So it might not be the right move, I can admit that, but it is what we are going to go with. So training-wise, we've been focusing on Kerr and Olsen, and that is going to continue to be the case, more than likely. It's a tough one, actually. Let's get Kerr into a useful spot, at least up to a 70, and then we'll start focusing on Olsen, because in the meantime, I do want to trade up Ken Michaels as well. There just aren't enough training spots here to boost up everybody that we want to train up. But we'll get Michaels some time, because again, we're going to move on from Boosty and pretty much completely turn the page on the kind of, generation that came before the team that we have now. Again, the Mandrakar James, the K's, the Piets, we're going to try to move them out. Is this Bilbao in for Godinho? It is. We'll accept that, of course. Not going to be picky. Just going to try to get rid of them. That way we don't have people complaining about their lack of playing time for the majority of the season. Verona in for K, 6.7. Would suck to see him go, but it makes sense. I mean, Marc-Anthony Kaye has been a part of this team for a long time at this point, but changes have to be made at some point, right? Especially now where the pressure's on. I mean, we finished top 4 last year, but not getting the World Cup was a big blow. As we get a low ball offer for Russell Williams, but I don't care. I wonder if that's the AI factoring in his low morale and just, them knowing that he wants to leave. But I'm cool with that. Money's no issue for us. The AI didn't develop any top-notch Canadians themselves. So Godinho is gone to Bilbao. We get an offer for Piet. Now, it is from Hanover, which sucks because that means he could really come back to haunt us at some point this season, but I'm still willing to let him go. And let's see what else we have training-wise before taking a look at the World Cup tournament. Kaye is off to Verona. Sevilla in for Boosty. We'll see if he will be leaving the club for a second time. So we go over to training. I want to check. I think it was Moore that I was concerned about. It was Morgan. He still has a good, he still has the promising player tag, right? Which is good news for us. So I think we'll keep him. Don't know if he'll be my first option, but we'll definitely keep him for now. And again, a lot of our players are still, just so young. Like Peter Gagnon's 24. He's 92, but he's 24. I mean, obviously it is a younger team. That's to be expected. I do wish we had just a bit more time with this. In a way, I do still regret taking off the 2 weeks or so. It was about 2 weeks, yeah, to get all that NHL roster editing done because we missed out on some time in this series. But again, we talked about that. Necessary evil. As we'll look to move Evan White to Leicester in the Premier League. Let's get an update on what's happening in the World Cup that we are not a part of. Let's see what we have here. So the semifinals are good. So group stage, France and Venezuela went through. Netherlands really disappointed. Germany, Paraguay, Italy, Colombia, Switzerland, Argentina. Man, India actually won games. Cameroon, Portugal, England and the US, Spain and the Ivory Coast, Brazil and Turkey. So in the round of 16, France crushed Paraguay, Argentina over Italy on pens, the US beat Cameroon, and Spain absolutely demolished Turkey. Germany destroys Venezuela, Colombia sneaks past Switzerland, England beats Portugal, and Brazil beat the Ivory Coast. In the quarters, France over Argentina, Spain over the US, Germany destroys Colombia, and England beats Brazil. So it's France, Spain, Germany, and England in the World Cup semifinals. So we'll see what happens from there. The tournament that we thought might be ours, that we were hoping would be ours, and we were never even given an opportunity, as Piet and Williams have both been sold. We'll be looking to move Anthony Wilson out to Olympique Lyon. Lyon. And we'll see if that goes through. Of course, no preseason tournaments to worry about. Boosty has also been sold, so all those guys we brought in last year for insurance on the way out. Not really trusting them all that much. It does suck to see someone like Mandrakar James go again, but at least he's leaving when this team is more than capable of surviving without him. As White has been sold as well. He goes to Leicester. Juventus in for Victor Olsen, who did score one hell of a goal in the last game, but I'm going to trust Kerr. I'm going to trust Bliska. Bliska more so than Kerr, especially after he did not score a single goal for us last year, which was shocking to see that for the final stats. That was pretty brutal, really. So the World Cup, what's the update here? Let's look at this. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And it's France and England. France and England in the final. Mbappe staring through your soul. England and France in the final. Anthony Wilson has been sold. Mandrakar James has been sold. You want to tell me who won the World Cup game? Victor Olsen has been sold. And I think we're good. We should have a ton of money, too, that we can do absolutely nothing with. So that's great. What do we have? Yeah, almost $300 million in a transfer budget. Just sitting there, doing nothing, wasting away, but building up a ton of interest. Hopefully that's how that works. World Cup-wise, France wins again. They beat England 2-1 in the World Cup final. England loses again. Football was indeed not coming home. Again. We change our attention. We turn our attention to the Bundesliga. All eyes on us now. At this point, I am not 100% sure what formation we're going to be running with here. I do want to take a look at the team once we get to the opener. Of course, we'll look around the league as well, be able to judge what our opponents look like and really what our chances should be. But it's been progression ever since we saved the day and made sure we stayed in the league at that 1 point. Top 4 last year. We need something this year. And speaking of Larry Kerr, out for 6 weeks with a groin injury. That's unfortunate. So we'll definitely be relying on Bliska a little bit more. Jay Park and his beautiful nose will be signed, and he is the only one. Let's just cut a few of these guys. Schaefer was really disappointing with this most recent 9-month assignment out in Canada. In terms of the Youth Academy as it stands, again, Jay Cunningham is phenomenal. Russell White's going to be really good, but I don't want him. Donald Park, Jay Park is 47 at 16. We're just going to get rid of him. And Tyler Morgan can stay. So Park, I'm going to cut already. We have Tyler Morgan as a center back, even though he's 5'9", and Jay Cunningham, both looking pretty good as defensive insurance from within the Youth Academy. I did not want to save, but that's okay. I probably should, just in case. You never know what will happen. So, Kenny Michaels and Russell Kerr. Kerr did make it up to a 70, so we'll be taking him out of training here soon and focusing on that other CDM. In the meantime, when is our season opener? It's going to be towards the end of the month, but I don't know, I figured it would stop and I could check before we got to this point simming-wise, but it's still going, so I'm not going to stop it. Okay, training again. Like I said, Russell Kerr is out. We will keep building up Michaels. Bliska's fine where he is. It's going to be Pierre Olsen, who gets a decent amount of focus here over the next few months, trying to build him up to be a little bit more of a useful player. He has 93 ball control as a defensive midfielder, which is just ridiculous. Let's go vision and short pass just to make him even more of a threat. So, again, try to get him to a little bit more of a useful spot for us, to at least a 70, where he should be able to be competitive. Really, anybody on this team should be able to be competitive and at least not get steamrolled by really any team in this league. Disadvantage? Sure. 105 million for Danny Olmo. Damn. Chelsea spending the big bucks. The big bucks. As when the hell are we starting the season? When is it, EA? When are we starting the season? It's gotta be this weekend, right? I would imagine. Training wise, then again the World Cup changes up the schedule, so it's not that surprising. As Michaels with some decent improvement. Nearly a 68 overall at this point. Let's see what we have on the agenda. This season refuses to start. There it is. We start on Sunday against Schalke, who we have traditionally struggled against. So that's great. Let's get one of these frustrating games out of the way early. I agree with that logic. So, the team this year, I mean, first and foremost, as far as what we're looking like, again, we know that Kerr is going to be out, which is unfortunate. Taylor, of course, is going to be our starting goalkeeper, so Michaels will be there if need be. So what we're going to look to do here, again, is have a little bit more of a defensive approach. I think White as a flat-out holding midfielder. I don't know if I want to go 2 strikers or not. It's the one thing I was tempted to do. We could go 2 cams to kind of fill out the roster here in this way. I mean, it is pretty similar to what you would see from default formations. I'm not opposed to setting this up in this fashion, in this way. It might not be the worst idea. I was thinking of going 2 strikers, but with the injured occur, it might just be better to have Bliska coming in off the bench. But as far as the rest of the team is concerned, I mean, Park and James, obviously we've played James at certain points as the defensive midfield option, and that still is an option if we wanted Taylor to be in full time. Of course, my plan was to kind of have White play a little bit more. But, again, we do have options in that way. And then defensively, we can just have a full back line there. So, Bliska, let's go, I think, with that, Moore, Sullivan, and White. Pretty much any type of sub you would want, you can get. And then, I guess the question is whether or not I want Evans in, which... that could be where we play Bliska. I'm not sure what we would do for a striking substitute, but we could do something like this. I do kind of want Evans there. I don't really want to run Evans as a starter yet, but it might not be the worst idea. You know what? I mean, screw it. Screw it. Let's run Evans as a starter. What's the worst that could happen? We'll see how he can do. Morgan, like I said, pretty much figuring he's the odd man out in this equation right now. And that might be the team. So, I mean, the midfield is going to be weak on paper if we do that. How does Bliska compare? Let's see. So, I mean, Bliska is a little bit weaker in certain aspects. He's better in dribbling. A little bit better pace-ish. That's about it. And then David looking good. And, of course, Cooper has pretty damn good shooting. I'm going to try that. We'll adjust it as we need to. Again, there are options with other players who can jump in. But I don't totally hate that. And then, of course, Gagnon is our captain. Our free kick taker is still going to be Clark. Penalties... oh, God, it's still going to have to be Davies, and in corners will be Clark. And in second team, we'll set that up when we need to worry about it. So in terms of how our first team compares to the rest of the league, let's see what we're dealing with. So again, we'll look at our team first and foremost. 87 attack, 77 midfield, which is not surprising because we're kind of tanking it, and an 82 in defense with an 84 rated keeper. So compared to Cologne, we absolutely crushed that version of their lineup. Leverkusen, much better attack. They have the advantage in midfield. We have the advantage in D. Goalkeeping balances out. Gladbach, I mean, again, pretty much it's, are we competitive with them? Yes. Are we competitive with Leipzig? Yes. Schalke, we should be able to win that game. I mean, right now, there isn't a single lineup that we've seen yet where I'm like, yep, we're in a ton of trouble. And I'm still not seeing it. Even Dortmund. I mean, they have the 1 point edge in defense. We have the 1 point edge in goal. And then obviously the attack, it's only factoring in Firmino. So it's not surprising. Bayern's going to be an issue because that defense is ridiculous. The midfield, they have a big advantage. But obviously we have a big advantage in attack and a decent advantage in terms of goalkeeping. We can hang with anybody in this league, especially if that front three is firing on all cylinders like they're capable of doing. It's just whether or not they ultimately do that. And tactics-wise, oh boy, I don't know how much the AI, how much the sim really factors in this setup, but we will go pressure on heavy touch. The offense, I'm tempted to go long ball because we do have the speed. Fast build up, though, certainly works too. Maybe just set that to long ball and see what happens. And then instructions-wise, Davey, stay forward, but you can free roam. Get him behind. Get in the box for crosses. David, you don't need to stay central. That's fine. But again, get him behind. Stay forward. And Clark, stay forward. Free roam. Get him behind. Get into the box for crosses. And again, fairly straightforward. James, stay back, please. Although the AI doesn't often listen. But we'll hope for the best. Gagnon and Mathis can move up if they want to move up. And then these two can move back if need be. But again, give them the option to get in the box and free roam. We'll see if that has any effect. And we'll hope for the best. I mean, again, this team should be able to hang with pretty much anybody. We start off our season against Schalke, and I have a bad feeling that in about 5 to 10 seconds, I'm going to be very upset with what I see here. But hopefully, and there you go, hopefully we can start the season off on the right foot, is what I was going to say. And we are trailing within 10 minutes, and could not score in the first half. Please, at the very least, don't lose. We need a point here in this first game. It's a home game. It's always Schalke who give us trouble. I don't know why. 10 minutes left. Late goal to bail us out. Moore and Adams in the fucking 88th. Moore scores off the bench, and then we blow it. Great. Great, great, great. Not the way I wanted to start this new year. Yeah, Walter, just shove it, buddy. My God. All right. We lose our first game of the season at home against Schalke. We tie it up in the 85th, lose it in the 88th. Not great. Not great. You talk about how this team should have a high-powered offense, and we can only muster 1 goal against Schalke. Not good to see. We play Hanover on Saturday. I'll have to check the schedule ahead, but, I mean, this should be a destruction. No matter who the hell is in the lineup. Barcelona keen on signing David. You can fucking have him because he doesn't show up and score when we need him to. That's right. I'm calling out our best player in the series. Oh, boy. Okay, no midweek games because the international break is coming up. We do know, though, that we're playing SC Braga and Manchester City in our Champions League group. Let's take a look here at the group stage. It is... Again, Man City, Braga, and Spartak Moscow. We should be able to do this. We should be able to. City is going to be a massive challenge. But let's take a look at all of the ratings, and we'll take a look at the other teams in the group stage. But, I don't know. Then again, the opinion of, well, we should be able to do this didn't work out well against Schalke. So Man City is still stacked. I mean, if they don't win the group, it's because they're focused on the league. When it comes to Braga, actually, wait, rest of world should have Spartak Moscow. Indeed they do. I mean, we should just crush them. We should absolutely crush them. And if I'm not mistaken, where is Braga? Are they Italian or Spanish? I always forget, and I guess they're either Portuguese or Italian. I can't. Yeah, they're Portuguese. There we go. And we should crush them too. Decent options, but that should be a destruction. It should be an absolute destruction. No questions. So we will start the same team that just fell short against Schalke here against Hanover. But, well, in fairness, I'm already tempted to make changes. Yeah, especially too because Taylor, the center back, is in poor form, as is the goalkeeper. And I'm tempted to make James a center back and bring in the other midfielder. You know what? We're going to make some slight changes. We're dropping James back. We're bringing in White. And in terms of the midfield, let's see what Bliska... Actually, Moore had a really good game. He did. Pace-wise, it'd probably be better to play him there. Let's give Moore a shot. What's the worst that could happen there? And in terms of the defense, I like Sullivan a lot, but somebody has to sit here between he and Taylor. And you know what? Taylor's in poor form, so he can kick rocks. Let's bring in Kerr as more of a defensive option. And that way we have a winger, you know, attacking midfielder and a more defensive midfielder. And we'll see what happens there. same thing. We'll tinker around if we need to here at the beginning. Change it up the formation if we have to. But this front three of Davies, David, and Clark should be able to rip people apart for fun as Jonathan David scores within the first minutes, which is a very good start. But again, we need a little bit more of an offensive output than that. Hanover ties it. Jonathan David scores again. This needs to be 3 points, or as stupid as it is, I'm already kind of in panic mode. David gets the hat trick. That should seal the deal with 10 minutes left, and it does. 3-1 final. We take care of business against Hanover, as we should, thankfully. But like I said, still a little bit worried about what the offensive output's going to be this season. I mean, I almost equate our front three to, say, Liverpool's front three. They should be ripping people apart for fun. Jonathan David should be the Firmino that can sit there and set up these plays that the other two just finish off. And if that's not the case, we're going to have another very disappointing year. It's really the only way to phrase it. As Olmo for 105, and he's real too. I don't recall ever seeing him at any point in FIFA this year, but maybe I missed something. As we're not getting any other offers, which is fine, because if I'm not mistaken, we already moved out every single player that we wanted to move out. So as long as this doesn't glitch again, and we didn't lose a decent amount of progress, then I'm fine with this. And we go through the window, and Badoon. From Blackpool to Chapecoense. Damn. As, well, Bayern Munich are spending a lot of money, so that's good. Always good to see our biggest competition spending even more money. That's always nice. So we go to these international games, which have no effect on us at all. Not that I cared about them before, but I care about them even less now. Andrew Moore will be signed to the academy. He is the only one. And again, we will just breeze through these international games. If anything, once I have the chance to just not have the Canada... Actually, yeah, I can do that. Resign from national team. No point in us being the manager of Canada anymore. No point at all. Because, I mean, aside from like making sure my players don't play so that they don't get hurt, Mexico immediately wants to sign us. There's no point. We're done with the international side of things because we're not playing another 4 years to get to the next World Cup, only to find out that we're not going to make it. As Tyler Morgan wants out of the academy. How good and or bad is Tyler Morgan? I mean, yeah, I'll sign him. Again, it freaks me out that he's a 5'9" center back. He does have good jumping and strength, though. So, interesting player we have there. Let's take a look. Listed as exciting. 2-star, 3-star, medium, high. I mean, that's not bad. He could play center mid, too, which makes quite a bit of sense, I would say. But 54 defense. He's someone that we're definitely going to have to try and train up a little bit. Speaking of training, Michael's almost to a 70. Although he's going to stay in training for the majority of the year. So it's going to be Olsen trying to get him up to a 70. And then focusing on the center back we just signed, pretty much. Tyler Morgan. I'm prioritizing this game against Bayern. If we have to play the second team against Braga, so be it. First team, second team, first team, second team. So that second team, Man City and Braga at the very least. We'll see what they can do. But we are definitely going with our top options on this occasion, as Moore is up to an 80. And we are going to leave him in. Morgan's also up in overall points. So, you know, we'll play him there. And everything else will stay the same for now. Again, we will rotate as much as we need to, but I think the people you see listed there, that'll be our defined first team for the next bit. Bayern have not won a game yet through 2. Schalke took points away from them as well. We need a win here, but my God, there are some big-time names in that lineup, and Dombele is one of them, and he scores In the 28th, Davies is able to tie it. Now, I'll take a draw against Bayern. Against Schalke, it's frustrating, but against Bayern, I'll take a draw. That's fine. 20 minutes left. Still tied at 1 after the Alphonso Davies goal. And Jonathan David, hold on. Yes! Yes! We can't beat Schalke, but we can beat Bayern Munich. Davies and David with the 2 goals. That sees us get all 3 points on the road at the Allianz. Holy hell. I don't know what it is, man, but for the past few, ever since we made it to the Bundesliga, we've done relatively well against Bayern, but we struggle against the Schalkes of the world. And I just don't, and that's no disrespect to Schalke. I actually like Schalke. But damn, man. I think even they get it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we suck against you, but we can beat, you know, Bayern. And it's like, that makes no sense at all. I agree. It's ridiculous. But hey, we get a huge win there. We bounce back from the loss to Schalke with back-to-back wins over Hannover and Bayern Munich, and that sends us into our first Champions League game of this season. Of course, we fell to AC Milan last year. This year, I mean, I want to say relatively tough group, but I think it's similar to last year. There's one team that we clearly shouldn't beat, but we should get over Braga and Moscow to make it through. And if I'm wrong on that, then, well, shit. We'll find out soon, won't we? We will find out soon. So, again, import team sheet. Import that sheet. And that is not what I wanted. Oh, yes it is actually. There we go. We want that one. I guess we have multiple different team sheets on the agenda. So, let's see. I want to delete that one because we haven't used that for a bit. And that way play and play 2 will be the ones that we use. So let's customize play 2. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that I am prepared to start Michaels yet. I mean, we still had some decent stamina there for Taylor, so he's going to be in. Center back wise, it's going to be the other Taylor and Sullivan. Left back is going to be Cameron. Right back is going to be Clark. So we're going to go with Gagnon, Mathis, and Morgan on the bench. Attacking wise, we're going to go with Kerr up top. We are going to go with Sullivan out on the left, Morgan on the right. Let's go with Evans here, Olsen here, and Kerr here. And you know what? Let's actually go with Bliska up top. Very tempted to start Kerr as a CDM. You know what? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're actually not going to start Olsen. I think that's okay. Unless we want to go with slightly better options in terms of subs. And I think we do. So let's go with those 3 up top. Striker, attacker, defensive, and a winger. We'll go with Davies over Clark. So I know in theory that this second team is significantly worse than what we could have gone with. You know, that's fairly obvious. But we're still going to give it a shot. We're going to run Cameron as the captain. Free kicks. Oh boy. It might end up being Kerr. Yeah, it's going to be Kerr up top. Penalties. Oh god. It's going to have to be Kerr. But again, 92 finishing. And then free kicks will be Morgan on both sides for the hell of it. That is the second team. And I can only hope that they play well. That's all I can say. I hope that they can play well. They had their moments. You look at someone, I think it was Evans, who did well. I mean, obviously we have quite a few duplicate names, but we've had Cams do well last year when they shouldn't have. We'll see if we can get a repeat performance here of players maybe stepping up beyond their level. I mean, a win here against Braga is needed. It needs to at least be a draw. A loss would be pretty rough, but I'm willing to sacrifice the Champions League for the sake of winning the Bundesliga. and having that be our main focus. We are 10 minutes away from a point at the very least, and we get it. So it's a scoreless draw in the home leg against Braga. How exciting, but hey, it's a clean sheet for the second team. I'll take it. They couldn't score, but they still shut down their opponents, and I will take that every day of the week as we move on to play Cologne on the weekend. And in terms of what this team's looking like, because I needed to fix this too, I think what I want to do is move Kerr in and almost count Bliska as a cam. And that way Evans will be on the bench alongside the other Evans. They have the same damn name, of course. It's a beautiful thing. So that'll be the first team, and the bench. Still feel bad about having that 80 rated guy not on the bench or even as a starter, but White at CDM is worth trusting. It's another home game, so we're getting all of our home games out of the way early, apparently. We'll see what we can do here against Cologne. As Peter Gagnon scores a minute in. You'd like to think that was an early corner or something because of his heading accuracy, but that's still fairly ridiculous. But playing with a lead is always nice as the dog makes her presence known. Davey scores, I think, just shy of halftime or just after. We're up 2, and things are looking good. Clark makes it 3. This is what I'm talking about. This type of offensive output. We're looking good. It might be worth maybe changing a few more things, telling the team to be a little bit more attacking and a little bit more aggressive in those strats if they even do anything. Or maybe we're just finally putting it together. Maybe the formation's working. Regardless, that is 3 straight wins in the league. A convincing win over Cologne. And that sees us into the top 4 through 4 games. Just a point back of Gladbach and Hertha Berlin, who are going to represent very tough matchups here on the schedule ahead. I mean, we play Mönchengladbach right now. It's our next game. So we've had interesting results. Of course, we had to play them last year in the final game of the season to make sure that we made it into the top 4. And again, though, here's the problem. It has to be the second team, because the first team plays against Dortmund. It's either I can have the first team play again against Gladbach and Man City, which I feel like we have to do. So, first team, second team. Bottom line is either a second team plays against Dortmund or Man City. And I'd rather they play against Man City, because I'd rather win the Bundesliga. So, I think our second team is going to start here. First team, second team, and then first team against Augsburg. And then again here, second team against Hertha Berlin, first team against Spartak, second team there, first team against Hoffenheim in the Pokal, but then they should have enough time to recover before playing Stuttgart, and then second team against Spartak. It's a rough schedule. It's a very rough and busy schedule, and to be honest, falling out of the DFB Pokal early is probably for the best, because we're going to struggle to handle 3 tournaments. We're struggling to handle 2 as it is. So I think the second team will start here. I just wish this was on Tuesday like it was last week, and I think we could double it up, but then again we had to play Cologne. So we're going to have to start the second team here. I mean, the first team's good to go, though. You know what? If the first team is good to go fitness-wise, they're playing. We're playing Gladbach. If they're not good to go against Dortmund, then so be it. Road game, midweek. Let's see what we can do against a team. We won both legs over them, 1 simming and 1 played last year. Let's see if we still have as good of luck against them this season. As we hit halftime scoreless, Kerr is on for Davies. With half an hour to go, Laken scores. We need a goal here. We need a goal. 10 minutes left. Late magic. Peter Gagnon. Just hold it. Yes, I'll take it. I will take it. A draw against tough competition on the road. I'll take it. Peter Gagnon saves the day. And that gets us a very crucial point as we move forward. But again, now it's the home leg against Dortmund. Most of the team is good to go. most of the team is good to go, and I'm going to factor that in. We are bringing in Taylor as a center back. Cooper is going to... He's going to start. I was tempted to bring in Bliska. Very tempted to bring in Bliska. Let's do it. We'll bring in Bliska there. Kerr in the midfield, and we're doing it. We're going to try to ride this first team and our best players as much as we possibly can. Let's see what they can do in the home leg against Borussia Dortmund. From Gladbach to Dortmund. Let's see what we can do here in this home leg. Jadon Sancho is still with the team after all this time, as Burnich gets the opening goal. Down 1-0. Clark able to tie it before halftime. Good stuff. We are scoring goals. I just wonder, if we go on a bit of a slide, if changing things up will be beneficial. 20 minutes left. Will there be a late winner for either side? Wolf scores. Dortmund win. Frustrating. Damn it. Damn it. That's one that I really wanted to win. That is one that I really, really wanted us to win. But Dortmund end up stealing it at the end, so we've done relatively well so far this season. I mean, we've had 2 examples against Schalke and against Dortmund of just letting it slip late, unfortunately. Aside from that, though, we've had good examples of, closing down games and doing well. The second team has to play against City. They have to. I know that Augsburg is an easier matchup, but I'm going to see if the second team can get the job done. I don't know if they'll be able to, but it's what we're going to look for. We're still going to start Taylor. Unfortunately, a lot of the main team is in poor form now. Let's bring in Sullivan. Let's bring in Park. I know I didn't go with the second team sheet, but that's because I had changes in mind that I'm ultimately not rolling with. Let's go with Clark up top, Cooper here, Morgan here, Moore on the outside, Sullivan on the left, and I guess we'll keep White there at CDM, even though he's in poor form. Evans, and Olsen. We'll have Bliska there. So, this could be viewed as tanking this game against Man City. But I think I'm willing to do it. There's no great answer. You know what? I'm gonna back out for a second. I don't know what to do in terms of trying to make sure that, the best team at all moments actually get to play. It's just tough when, like you have Mathis or Gagnon who are good to go to sit them, knowing how devastating that can be for our current form. You know what? Sullivan's in good form. I'm going to move Gagnon to center back, and we're going to take out James for Cameron, who's also in good form. If someone's in good form, they're playing. The only difference is Gagnon's going to be in because he's good enough to be in, fitness-wise. We're going with the big dogs. Fuck it. Maybe it's just because I don't want to lose to Man City. That could be the case. That could be the case. Maybe I just don't want to lose to Man City. But we're going to see what we can do here. Morgan and Cooper. We're going to bring him in. We're going to play Kerr at CDM. And let's go with something like that and just stack the bench. Although, let's do that because Bliska's in poor form. Let's do it. Screw it. Caution to the wind, strategy to the wind. Throw the best team out there at any point that we can. The away leg against City, taking a point here would be huge. But I don't know if I see us doing that. Time will tell. It's going to be tough. We know they still have a really good team. Ederson's still between the sticks. Sterling, Jesus, Sane still up top for them. Gabriel Jesus scores. Langlet scores as well. And this is why I was tempted to not run the first team, because, yeah, the quality difference. We were hoping for a draw, and unfortunately, that is not going to happen, barring a miracle. 3-0. Jesus scores again in the 88th. So that's an absolute nightmare. Should have just gone with my gut. I mean, I guess it could have gotten worse on away goals. Or away goal, just goal differential in general. It could have gotten worse. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, because now we get to play Augsburg. We are 4th in the league. But in terms of having a full-strength squad, not exactly. We do have some people who are still good to go. Now, Taylor's not in great form. And I think because of that, I'm not really going to fuck around here. And we're going to recall Justin Cooper from Bournemouth. And we are going to start playing him in goal and seeing what he can do in comparison. And let's see. Again, if you're in poor form, I almost don't even want to see you, but I think for the most part, we're just still going to be going with the highest overall guys possible. So the defense here, it's looking a little bit better. We can leave Sullivan on the bench. That's fine. Attacking-wise, David, not looking too good, but not bad enough to take him out. Pretty much goes for everybody, I think. Moore could have a little bit more energy, as could Cooper, but we're going to leave it. That midfield hasn't played well lately, but we are going to stick with it. Let's get Bliska in there for Evans. And I'm just thinking about a CDM replacement. So I think Kerr will be in rather than Sullivan. And that's how we're going to handle it. Bliska can take a seat too. Fuck it. Let's see what happens with this one, I guess. And offensive style. You know what? It's okay. It's all right. Gagnon is captain. Clark can handle basically everything from a free kick perspective. Let's do it. Last game of the episode, because we're about to hit another international break. It's the away game of the season against Augsburg, battling to stay in the top 4 in the early stages of this season. After the majority of this team just lost to Man City, we need a good result here. Otherwise, yeah, I'm going to be questioning the formation, the strats, potentially even the personnel. Morrison scores. We are trailing to a team that we should be coasting past at this point. A loss here, and I'm legitimately going to be angry. 15 minutes left. Come on. Clark ties it, but that's still a tremendous disappointment. Augsburg's the type of team that we have to beat if we're going to win the league, and we did not beat them. We are still in the top 4, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Makes me wonder if a 2-striker formation's the way to go. Maybe how we could change up, again, either the formation or the strategies. I guess I can take Michaels out of training now because we recalled Cooper. But we're going to need better performances if we want to win the league. Champions League-wise, obviously we're going to have to start taking a step up. You know, in the later legs, we play Spartak for the first time. Actually play them 2 times in a row before playing City in the final leg of the group stage. So it's a very busy schedule. We need certain players to step up because this is it. And we need this to be ultimately a season to remember.